What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Tomorrow. It is podcast lucky number 13, episode number 13. I am your host, Mike Kinney, and with me today,
I'm your host, the Sultan of SWAT and the Tamer of Twat, Randy Harig.
oh, Jesus Christ, Randy. I don't know if I need to edit out the word twat, but now that's...
Hey, I've said worse fucking stuff on here. Ms. Ark.
I guess so.
You can edit it out. I'd be the first bleep in our history.
That's true. That's actually true. And if the people don't know it by now, this is we have actually gone full swing on this deal. When the podcast first launched, it was like no swearing, nothing else. And now I brought you on board and it's like
fun. Fucking interesting now. And if I may, I believe you did 6 by yourself. Right?
I believe you're right.
So now officially you've done more with me than without me.
Oh, lucky me. Lucky me, folks. All right. Today's episode. I don't know. I don't know if I want to frame it or if we just want to jump into it. I think we should frame it. Randy and I have been batting this one back and forth because there's kind of a lot going on in both of our hemispheres right now when it comes to this. And I thought, man, this would be a great podcast like theme. And the theme is entitlement. Randy is guzzling water, just pounding it like he just has never drank water before in his life. So if you're just listening
worry
to
about
this,
what I said, and you're telling him I'm pounding it. Actually, that bottle's empty.
Water. So anyway, about entitlement. So today's episode is completely about entitlement and everything around it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I thought it would be good if I kind of throw myself under the bus right as we run out of the gate on this, because I've seen entitlement
instead of throwing me under.
Well, you know, that's coming. We're still very early. We're only 2 minutes into this thing.
I know it.
I think it's going to be good so that I can like lay out some perspective for everybody when it comes to entitlement. And I think about, you know, the reason I'm even bringing this up, there's so much other stuff going on right now. So early in my professional career, and I'm talking probably about 10 years ago, I was really, I was in corporate sales. And I was chomping at the bit to get a promotion, man. And they were dangling the carrot in front of me, and I was just chomping away at trying to get that thing. I really wanted it.
He was the jackass trying to get the carrot.
Pretty much.
That's their view.
When you're in really like entrenched in any kind of career, it's really hard to navigate the world around you because you're navigating it with blinders on. So you only see what's in front of you. And you don't know any better, right? So what was happening to me is that people would say, and these are like my superiors would be like, "Oh, you're gonna get that promotion pretty soon. Keep up the good work." And you're like, "Okay, boss, yeah, I can. Well, thanks a lot, man." And then of course,
hi ho, Kermit the Frog here.
And then of course, what happens is that they pick somebody else. And that was happening to me over and over and over again. And I was biting on it every single time that they would dangle that carrot in front of me. And
each time, how did it go with you, Mike?
Each time
they do it once, they do it again. They do it again.
Yeah.
How did that go with you?
Not well. I would freak out every single time because I wanted it so bad. And I knew that the people that were around me that were getting those promotions didn't deserve it. I had worked harder. I was smarter. I was checking all the boxes. I was the one that deserved to have that promotion.
There you go. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
When you know that you put the work in and you see some of these other people doing jack and shit in Jack Left Town, when they get a promotion, it's like, look, man, what the hell's going on?
For sure.
Especially when they're saying, hey, you're doing great. You're in line to come up and get a promotion, and they're teasing you along, got you on the line, and they're just.
Yep. It's really unfortunate too, because they don't it's not very often that there's a couple of things that really fall into place for me when I start thinking about some of the mistakes that I made. I would visually be upset I would audibly be upset as well. I cussed one of my superiors one time because they passed me over. I got told by someone that had a diverse background, ethnic wise, I guess to say. They looked me dead in the eye and told me I don't check the right boxes. I mean, it was stuff like that, you know, and what they meant was, is I'm just a white straight dude, man. And they literally looked me in the eye and was very serious about that. And that hurt. So there, you know, anyway, my point is that I never handled it very well. I was so involved in getting that promotion that I never had the opportunity to take a step back and go, why am I not getting it? I can blame everybody else and everything else around me. And in hindsight, did I have, you know, did I have the right to be upset? Sure. Um, did I have emotional intelligence about it? Absolutely not. What I should have been doing is going, okay, what value am I bringing to this scenario? Perhaps the people that were getting the promotion actually brought more value to the table than I did. They didn't just check the right boxes, they didn't just work hard, they didn't just have the right education. Perhaps they provided a different kind of value. So that I've noticed that over time as
Under the desk.
well, as I've shifted from being, you know, being led to being a leader, is that that's a big part of it, is that you start looking at the value that people bring to the table when it comes time for their promotion.
Yeah. And you know, man, when that happens, I don't think any of us think about it rationally, like, what happened? Everybody, this is freaking bullshit. You know, what the hell?
Yeah,
It's a natural reaction is to be pissed and disappointed. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me with this. This is ridiculous.
I remember calling you one point, and
Yes.
because I had I had actually told Randy that I was actually getting really good at getting passed over, and because it was happening all the time. In fact, the TED talk that I did was through the same company that I worked for at the time. And the funny thing about that is I was so jaded by that point about if I was going to get promoted or whatever, right? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm doing my TED talk, knock it out of the park. Like there's no denying that.
Yeah.
That my TED talk went very well. That evening there was a gala that was held where all the speakers and a guest got to attend. So my wife and I, we go off to the gala. My mom was in attendance. Her and her husband were in attendance for the TED Talk. She went. There was also an after party where all of the attendees were invited. So my mom went to that. Well, I went off to this dinner thing, and she got into the elevator of this place, and she's in the elevator with these guys in suits, and it happened to be some of the top brass for the company that I was working for at the time, the corporate brass. And they were talking about me and how this guy's going to get promoted and what a great guy and all this. So she goes, oh, that's my son. And they turn around, oh, ma'am, your son's, you know, heading for the moon. He's going to do. So she's pumped, right? She gets a hold of me in the next day or so. She says, you're never going to believe what I heard. I remember this so specifically. I said, Mom, don't listen to anything they say, because they're not the ones making the call. I'm going to get home. I'm going to get back to Minneapolis. I'm going to get back to that building, and it's going to be a bunch of people who are end up jealous of the way that I ended up knocking this thing out of the park, and they're going to continue to hold me back as they have done for the last few years. Now, that was my point of view then. I don't necessarily know that it's changed that much, but the reality of it is that was my point of view then. Whether it was right or wrong, who's to say? But I was so jaded because I felt so entitled leading up to that. I got passed over so much that I knew that it wasn't going to happen based on company politics. And frankly, the realization that came to light was I wasn't playing the game right ever. And I've never really been very good at that, Randy. There's a whole like political thing that happens with most jobs, as you probably know, and it's no different
Yes.
anywhere you go. And I'm gonna tell you this right away. I am lousy at playing politics. I am so bad at it because I just when somebody's being stupid, man, sometimes I just can't hold back. Like I need to fucking tell you you're stupid. And there's a scenario going on in my life right now, not necessarily work related or whatever, but like got to deal with some fucking stupid people sometimes, man. And I'm so tired of that shit. But that's a whole other thing and has nothing to really do with entitlement right now, does it? Oh, All right, Randy. Let's break down what entitlement looks like, though, in the workplace, in relationships, and goals. What do you think it looks like?
Well, I've worked in several different places before. I've worked in a box plant. My first job was at McDonald's. I've worked
Yeah.
there. Right now I am a non-emergency medical driver, meaning that I pick people up, I take them to methadone clinic, I take them to dialysis, I do this, that, and the other. But I'm not like an EMT. I'm not like an ambulance driver guy. I don't go and pick them up and stuff, but I take them to appointments. So I've had a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
I worked for the power company, and anywhere you work, entitlement's very obvious. When you walk in the door, you get maybe a week under your belt. You kind of know who are the favorites with the boss. You know the ones that nobody gives a crap about because they're
Hmm.
just they're just the shadow in the corner of the room. They don't talk to anybody. They don't do anything. They maybe do their job good. They might do a great job, but they just do their stuff and they're just off, doing their thing.
Yeah.
But the cheek smoochers immediately, and honestly and sadly, that tends to be a big part of business. And well, it's like that in the wrestling business too, Mike. You know how much backroom shenanigans and politicking and things are. It's not that you can
Yeah.
just write the story and everybody works together. Oh no, I couldn't possibly lose to that guy because I was a champion in two other states ago, 2 years ago in Nebraska or something. And I beat him 3 times in a row. He never defeated me, so he can't defeat me here. Like, dude, nobody that was at that show is here. And if they are, they're a big fan of ours anyways, or yours, and they came to watch you. So they don't care.
Right.
But I digress. It's very obvious. Um, Entitlement to leads a lot of people to be very arrogant. Um, and you said too, what's the good side of it? What's the bad side of it? Well, when I hear that word, it almost immediately gets a negative connotation to it. I to me, it's like, what do you mean good? You know what I mean? It's like what's good about being entitled? Like, hey, I'm the boss's son. I deserve this. You don't. Like
Yeah.
what? you know, but maybe there's things that I'm not thinking of. And I'm sure there is, or, it wouldn't be part of the topic tonight. But yeah, that's the stuff it's definitely frustrating, especially when they get their way and you see that they do a third of the work that you do, or, they've been there, 8 years, or they're the guy that's been there for 2 weeks and he gets bumped up immediately. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, man, I've been doing this for a long time and I do a good job, show up to work all the time. And what the hell, this,
Oh, for sure.
but
Yeah, I think when you look at entitlement itself, if I had to describe it to somebody that didn't know what it was, I would say it's like, you hear somebody say, "I'm due, man. I'm due." It's like being due with an attitude. I mean, that's in its crudest form. I think that's really what it is. What I think ends up happening, though, relationships are kind of the same way too. I mean, you think about like marriage, you think about friendships. I did this for that person. Now they should be doing this for me.
right.
Like, like that's not really how it works. And there's some maturity that takes place in that regard. You think about like how you interact with your friends now versus how you interacted with them when you were like in middle school. And I can tell you right now, I've got middle school boys. I coach 8th grade football right now, and the way they interact with each other is actually a lot not a lot different, but it is different than how adults interact with each other. Um, for better for worse. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I still remember the good old times when you just insult your friends every time you saw them immediately. And you'd
Yeah.
constantly say something about their mother or, you know, anything like that. So all the poor moms out there from over the years, we're deeply sorry for all the nasty things that Shane and Aaron said. We did not do it. That's inappropriate and wrong.
Those guys are mean, 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 mean. But what? Yeah. Um, what the point I was gonna make at some point here before you almost got me. You almost
Da
got
da
me.
da 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 da.
Entitlement actually does blind you from what others actually see in you. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't even know if that came out right, but you don't have the ability. This goes back to that value thing. You don't really have the autonomy to be able to see what others think about you
Right.
because you feel entitled to a very specific thing or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And so that holds you back in a lot of ways. It's okay to feel like, dang it, it should have been me. But then
Sure.
like dust off your pants, get your ass up off the ground and go do it again and again and again and again. What I don't do ever is quit. I'll sulk. I'll give myself a day or two to lick my wounds, but I guarantee you I'm coming back fighting every single time. And I'm talking every single time. There has not been a case or an instance in my life that I can think of where I have been insulted, put down, or been in a situation where I felt like I should be able to be at a certain level to get something where I've actually quit under my own recognizance. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head that I quit doing that I didn't want to quit doing, but I quit anyway, was wrestling. And that was because of, we've talked about this 100 times. I was going to be a dad and my shoulder was screwed and I just couldn't physically do it anymore. That's it. Physical limitations aside, there hasn't been a single other thing that I know that I've ever quit.
I've quit several jobs. I've got shit news before, or I've been treated like crap, and I told them, stick it up your ass. And
Well,
I've
that's a
done
little
it.
bit different, though. I mean, I'm talking about stuff that like matters. Those being in those really bad situations at work.
Yeah.
I don't see that like in that moment where you did that.
Mm-hmm.
That quitting is not a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing, dude. I quit drinking. That doesn't mean I'm a quitter, right?
Yes, it
You
does.
you quit and you quit
Good
a
for you.
job because you were in a shitty situation. I think that's awesome.
Well, the intention was, hey, stick it up your ass. You're not going to treat me like that. So it
Sure,
was defending myself, sticking up for myself
correct.
mostly.
Yep.
However, I did it in the most destructive way possible. As a matter of fact, one time, I don't know anybody else that's done this. If you're out there, I really do want to hear this. I called in and quit. I didn't
You
call in
called in and said,
sick. I said, hey, I'm not going to be in. What do you mean? I mean, I'm never coming in again. Click. And I went back to bed for 4 hours and I slept like a champion. I woke up with like an aura. I just flew out of bed, felt great, like I was on a cloud all day. And I know they had to eat out of the shit pot because I wasn't there for them to screw around. You know, they say, the guys that stir the shit pot should have to lick the spoon. That's true.
"Oh my God." Well, I think we just found your first T-shirt slogan.
My
Yep,
mom would be so proud.
she would. She would. I'm going to send Trudy a shirt that says that and see what she says.
Well,
Yep.
actually, she says it too.
Does she? For real?
For real.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yep. And it's
Okay.
it's true though. Those guys that like to stir shit just to get people wound up. This is for you.
Yep.
Okay, back to our regular scheduled program.
So a couple of questions I want you to wrestle with. And the first one is, when you start thinking about a moment where you're entitled to something, question number one. These are all rhetorical. I just want you to ask yourself these questions. The first one is, what value are you bringing to the table? If you cannot articulate that, if you do not know what it is, then that means it is a big fat zero. You should know exactly your worth. You should know exactly your value. But if you're not truly bringing any value to the table, if you're not doing anything that stands out from the herd and you're getting passed over and over again, that's on you if there's no value being created. Question number two, are you making the people around you better? All right, I'm going to say that again. Are you making the people around you better? Because if you're not, then that means that you're only in it for you and you have no value. You are not perceived to have any value to others. All right.
Right.
So you need to be bringing value to the table and you need to be perceived to be bringing value to the table. And the last one, this one gets me every single time. Are you a threat to anybody else? Any peers? Any possible competition for the next promotion? Any of that stuff. Think about like any community activity that you're doing. Perhaps you're coaching eighth grade football with a bunch of other guys. Are you a threat to them in any
I
specific
would be.
way that would make them try to belittle you? Are you a threat? Now, is there anything you can do about that? Probably not. Probably not. But it's going to get you down. And you need to know that people are going to talk about you. People are going to try to do things to fuck you over because you were
That's the
perceived as
boy.
a threat.
Hmm.
All right? That's
Yep.
what's going to happen.
Yep.
And you need to be ready for that. And if you are not ready for that, it is going to eat you alive. You will go to football practice on a Monday and you will stay awake till 3:30 a.m. on Tuesday, knowing that you got to get up for work at 5 o'clock on Tuesday morning. You'll get an hour and a half of sleep over nothing.
Yes. That
Hypothetically speaking, of course.
that's true though. All wound up about some shit that shouldn't be happening, and there's nothing the guy can do about it. But it's there.
So, anyway, those are the questions that need to be brought to the table. All right, Randy. Now let's look at the other side of entitlement. Tell me a story
Oh
where you've seen
boy.
entitlement backfire. Entitlement backfires from time to time, and I know that you've experienced it. I know I've experienced it. I can't wait for you to tell me this one.
Well, I do have a quick one. It's two guys that I actually graduated with, and I was not there for this. I heard the second hand, but I popped for it. I thought it was hilarious. But there was a guy that he was kind of a loner kid, nerdy kid, you know. This other guy made fun of him through middle school. Every damn year of high school, he just on and on and on and on and on. And I'm sure that when the kid graduated, he was so damn happy to be away from that guy. I don't know the pressure that he must have put on him over the years, but seems that years later, this gentleman that was the Dick, we'll say his name was.
Okay.
That's kind of punny.
It is.
He went in the bank to get a bank loan. And so he went in to talk with the loan officer, and guess who was behind the desk? The guy that he ridiculed on and on and on and on and on over the years.
Ooh,
And you think that guy got a loan?
absolutely not.
I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in there. And I'm sure that nerdy guy, who incidentally was a nice guy, he just was a loner and didn't play sports and he just was that guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he was very professional about it, but in no other words, he probably told him to stick it up his ass. There's no way he's ever getting money from that bank, ever.
Well,
And
yeah. Do
you
treat
know,
people the
hey,
way you want to be treated, right?
that kind of stuff will go a long ways in everyday life too. You know,
Yeah.
just be nice. It don't cost you a damn thing to be a good dude. Nothing.
Yeah.
It costs you a damn thing. You got to go out of your way to be a prick.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too because like there's so much to unpack with that, and I'm thinking about like there was recently a wrestler too that I saw that posted something online about how like essentially they're sick and tired of this thing that they haven't been a part of and they're due and yada yada yada. And I'm like, dude, I just can't emphasize enough like what value are you bringing and do people see you as a valuable person and are you a threat to the thing you were trying to be a part of and the people in it?
I
Like,
know what
have
you're
you
talking about.
yeah, I mean, have you diagnosed that? I mean, and that's really what we're kind of talking about here. If you don't have the ability to self-diagnose an entitlement opportunity, you're going to fall into a situation that you just explained, where you're going to be on the other side of the table and you need something from somebody that you crapped on in a
Nope.
time when you felt entitled, right? And it's not going to fly.
I know who you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
And it doesn't
And,
matter who it
and,
is or what
and
it is, right?
without bringing that up, I don't like the guy. I don't dislike the guy. I don't really know him. I know
Sure.
who he is. That's all.
Yep.
Can't say I'm friends. Certainly not enemies. We don't have heat. There's nothing.
Sure.
But I can say that I've seen this guy do his work before,
Hmm.
and I understand why he's not being included.
Sure.
He, I'm sorry to say it, does a piss poor job. Okay.
That's fair.
And it seems to me that he also has an attitude to match.
Hmm.
Like, if you don't like it, then screw you. I'll just do something else or whatever,
Sure.
instead of trying to improve at his job
I
or
agree.
trying to ask for help or trying to learn or many other things that a person can do to try to better
Yeah.
themselves when they're struggling.
Yeah.
Instead, blame everybody else,
Yep. You're right.
and like I said, I don't know the guy. To me, it seems completely unfounded. This whole thing is very silly to me. Like I don't even know how he can dare ask to do anything else. I'm just saying. I don't
No,
mean it in a crappy way. I'm just saying.
no.
Yep.
It is interesting though, because like this is again, it's just unfortunately one of those situations where the people around him, and it really does kind of suck too. I was talking to this one this one wrestler too. She's a female wrestler. She used to wrestle in Canada quite a bit, and the people around her at the time were like, "Oh, you're so good, you're so good." And now she's telling me this story, right? So, and she's like, "Yeah, they told me I was so good, and then I went to Mexico to wrestle, and I got down there, and I realized I was shitty, and the whole time I just like realized that nobody was being honest with me." So, and in a situation, I'm kind of embellishing this next part, but in a situation like that, I could see how that could go to your head, and then you would build entitlement through that in some way. And that's kind of a dangerous thing. You have to surround yourself with people who will give you honest feedback. That's a whole other thing, a whole other study. I think that I've talked about it on one of my podcasts before. Your trust posse. There's many different names for them. You're just like your small inner circle of people who'll be honest with you no matter the cost. And you kind of
Right.
need that kind of feedback at all times just to keep you level headed and moving forward, and making sure that you're not, you're not steering the boat outside the buoys. So, and I think in this situation, this other wrestler that we were just talking about, I don't know that he's necessarily surrounded himself by people who are, positive thinkers in that way. And that you're oftentimes you're some of your surroundings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the viewers tune in and watch our show, but they don't know the long road that you and I've come over time. Now, Mike was a teenager when I met him. I'm older than him, and we'll leave it at that. Not as old as Shane, though. Jesus Christ.
Or
Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
No, they're about close. They're close.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
went
which
to the
one.
same high school.
Yeah, but when I got to start with the AWO, and Mike knows this story, so don't think he doesn't. He knows exactly what I'm going to say before I say it. I got to wrestle for the AWO with some friends of mine that
Hold on. Not everybody knows what the AWO was. The AWO
I
was a
forget is legendary.
wrestling promotion that was the very first wrestling promotion that I started, and I brought in all kinds of people to help me like run this thing and get it going. And I did this as a 15 and 16-year-old kid who was just breaking into the wrestling business. Okay, Randy, you may continue.
So yes, a dream came true. I got a chance to get in the ring, and I've always been thankful to Mike and to Shane that had a lot of things to do with me coming in.
He did, yeah.
And I've always, no matter what I thought about them or not or whatever, I've always been thankful because they gave me an opportunity that I may have never had or never pursued. So I'll never forget that. And I know there's other guys that are like that too. But once we got going with that, there was an entitled guy that ran the company actually. And I don't think he wanted to do it on purpose. I think he just was at that age and didn't know any better. But the show, at least the first couple, were about him. The rest of us were uh, background characters or extras in his movie, sort of kind of thing, essentially. And it got to the point where I went because I loved wrestling and I loved signing a picture for a little kid or, hanging out with the wrestlers that, we were all on the same page. We all got to just start out and we had some camaraderie like that. I would have punched Mike in the face for very little reason at that time period. Never happened, and I'm thankful that it didn't. But it could have happened. And like I said, I'm glad that it never did. The point being is we've come from that area to him realizing that there is some worth to me in moving up a little bit. And there's some trust that he can tell me something and I don't have to tell everybody else. And then into the, oh my God, I have a problem. What should I do? We've come a long ways. And from where we were to where we are, I think a lot of people would never make it that far. So I'm thankful for that. But I was too busy telling you the history thing. I'm trying to think of where we were going with this. What the hell we were
Well,
talking about?
we were talking about a kid who was entitled that was running a company.
Yes. Over the years, he's learned. He's had his ups and downs with work, and this, that, and the other thing, and he's grown up a lot, and that's a lot of the reason I value his friendship. And he's grown into somebody I feel like I can trust, or I wouldn't be here doing the podcast because I feel like we're trying to do something good. Something positive, and we're trying to build something that would be very successful. And I think that we can do it together. So his entitlement kind of went away as the time passed. But, at the time back then, I own the company, I wrestle the main event, you do this, you do this, you do this, and I'll do this. But it's changed a lot. And when he went on the road with other companies and found out that he was not always the top card in the deck, he found out some other things too, just going down the road, he kind of saw the things that we went through and looks at it completely different now than he did. But I remember the first time I told Mike that, he's like, what? It didn't occur to him because he couldn't see that. He didn't see what we saw from the other side, where we're like, we like him. He's good. He's a good wrestler, but he treats us like shit. And I don't think he meant that. I believe it was just where he was mentally. Like, I'm running this. I'm doing this. You do that. I think he was more trying to delegate and try to figure out how to run things at the same time versus trying to just be a dick. But there were definitely times where, there's a few of us that were like, if we didn't love this so much, we would drop you on your ass and walk out. And I'm glad that didn't happen for a lot of reasons. But there's entitlement going wrong and not seeing it and not realizing that you're portraying yourself that way, whether you mean to or not.
Yeah, situational awareness, and I think that it's not really an accident that we're doing an entitlement episode. I mean, I was certainly plagued with it, as a teenage kid who was trying to make his way through the wrestling business, and
Well,
I remember, I know exactly what you're talking about, and
I'm not saying that I wouldn't have done it if I was in your shoes. I don't know how I would have done that whole thing at that time, by the way.
I didn't realize I was doing it. Like
No,
thinking
I don't
about it
think you
right
did.
now,
Right.
what I remember is, and keep in mind, I'm a teenager, right? I'm a kid who's trying to run these wrestling shows and learn the wrestling business and train to be a wrestler with a dream to be world champion, to do this forever and ever with a bunch of guys who were older than me. And I didn't quite have the maturity that they all had. Um, and so it was like, listen, guys, you're here because I said you can be here. I started this.
And,
You can't. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It was
mhm,
it was absolutely the wrong state of mind to be in. And I had a chip on my shoulder because of it. And it was, and what I needed was a mentor. What I needed was someone who could like help. And I got that later on in the wrestling business. But at that
sure
time,
you did.
I didn't have that. And so being a kid who was trying to like learn it on the fly as he goes, that was a tough spot to be in. And I'm not making excuses. I think that like,
Absolutely not.
I think I'm a pretty decent guy and I don't mean to treat people like crap in general.
No.
Ever in my life that I know of. I'm sure I picked on a couple of people here and there, but like I'm I'm not I'm not an asshole. What I am is someone that like gets tunnel vision. And we talked about blinders earlier, and I think that being that young at an early age was certainly, or that being that young in the wrestling profession was certainly doing that. And again, it started happening to me very similarly when I started my professional career, in sales and marketing and stuff after I left wrestling. So it certainly happened to me. Frankly, dude, I'm 43 now. I didn't really like figure out the whole maturity thing until like I hit 40. And I wish
Hey,
that wasn't true.
it,
But
it's
man,
it's different for everybody.
yeah, dude.
And
I
I'm not
mean,
saying
I had a
everybody
rough
else
road.
back then was so mature and would have ran it any better or anything
No, I
else.
know, I know.
But
It woulda, shoulda, coulda.
it was just a different thing. Like, goddamn, we wouldn't have talked to somebody like that.
Yeah,
Like what the
yeah.
fuck, you know. And
Well, we got
like I
shit
said,
done.
it. Oh
We-
yeah, we did. And think about this too. Any person that's that age, you put them in to basically be the CEO of a company and the main star, and then you figure out how to do it because it's a hell of a lot to put
it's
on
brutal.
yourself.
Yeah,
And that ties back into our other show about pressure and dealing with that too. Is you had no freaking idea how to do that, plus how to do your schoolwork and play football and everything else too.
right.
you know Nobody would. How the hell would you?
Yeah.
So you put a lot on your plate. And we continued, though. We didn't shut down. We continued and moved forward, whether we did really great at a show or not so good. We didn't quit though. And that was a thing too. So we all came together through that. And over the years, like I said, I've learned who Mike is. I've seen beside behind the curtain of Oz, let's say. No, not the wrestler. What's up, Oz? Um, anyways, behind the curtain of Oz, I seen who the guy is, and I understand him better now. And
Sure.
I understand that he has a lot more heart than he likes to show. He doesn't want anybody to know how much that things really bother him or affect him. He does the straight lace, no funny business. You know, that's what he does. And I've never been with you in the corporate setting or anything like that. I can't say that, but you know, it's tough to admit that you're not bulletproof. You know, it just is. Or that you have concerns, or you have worries about things, or stuff like that. It's tough to admit. You're supposed to be a man, a tough guy. You're not supposed to ever
Yeah.
have anything to bother you.
I think when I look at, how I think we're talking about two different things. So I want to clarify this. I've been in a position where I felt entitled several times in my life, and I
Sure,
didn't diagnose it properly.
I've
I
done
didn't
it too.
understand. I didn't understand the value I was bringing, and because of that, I took it out on other people around me. And so that's some of this early on stuff we're talking about, right? And when I think and I look at where I'm at now, like my day job is I run a sales team. 11 people report to me, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 people report to me. And that's my job is it's a big job, man. And it's taxing. And my
Sure.
biggest weakness is, so if you think about, like, it wasn't that I didn't care about the guys when I was a teenager, the ones that were wrestling and stuff. I
No,
just cared
absolutely.
I cared about what I was doing more than I cared about them, what they were
Sure.
doing, not them as people. What I cared more about what I was doing than what they were doing, is what I meant to say. Now my emotions have kind of gone in a weird direction now that I'm much further along in life.
Right.
Is that my biggest weakness, is that I will run through a burning building for the people that report to me. Like, my people are my biggest weakness, hands down, without a freaking doubt. I'll be the first one to tell you, and that doesn't mean I can't hold them accountable. Oh, absolutely not. I do hold them accountable. I just hold them
Right.
to a higher standard because of how much I expect out of them, because of how much I adore them. That's the world I
Right.
live in.
You know what they're capable of, and challenge them to be their best and to do even better than that, to
And that's
keep
everybody
moving
that
up.
I surround myself with. That includes
Right.
you. That includes my
Absolutely.
kids. That includes everybody. There are three, but the three most important things to me, Randy, are my people, whether that's my family, whether that's my friends or the people that report to me, my colleagues. So first one is people. The second one is time. Do not waste my time. Do not do that. I am a time stickler. Believe it or not, when Randy's talking about me as a teenager, I was never on time for anything. I was chronically late for everything, upwards of an hour or two. We used to call it gator time because I was so late. My
That's
people,
true.
my people, my time, and my money. Don't fuck with any of them. Those
Hmm.
three things.
It's true. I wish I had money that people could try to fuck with.
Well, yeah, that too. So you got to,
I
I guess I
mean,
got to have money. You got to have that third one. So, but those
so
are the
buy
three.
buy my T-shirt when it comes out.
Then Randy will be able to have that third one. So, all right, man,
Third
let's talk
nipple.
the
That's
third.
what I'm getting.
What are you getting? A third nipple?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about nipples?
Why the hell wouldn't we be talking about nipples?
You're right. It is an
Everybody
entitlement
out there
episode.
is fond of them. That's all I'm saying. We're not getting
Ran-
into a big tits. Wow, tits. We're not getting into that.
Randy is entitled to a third nipple.
I fucking think I deserve one.
Nope. See but what value does it bring, Randy? Okay,
Look, man, it's like grade A's tattoo. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I do,
It's like
but
his
nobody
tattoo.
else does. That's listening to this.
I
There's a
bet you some
guy.
of them do.
There's a guy that Randy and I know that has a tattoo on his ass cheek that says grade A, like it's stamped on beef. So the guy's nickname is grade A because of it. That's a true story.
And brilliant. Freaking brilliant. That's what I'll say.
All right, Randy, let's start navigating this one around the home stretch here. So let's talk about takeaways. I think it's important that both you and I do a brief recap. We talk about what are your key takeaways from this episode. You want to start?
Sure.
Go for it, man.
I think being entitled is dangerous. I think a person gets to be susceptible to the gimmies instead of taking time and looking at things and realizing, what should I be doing, or how could I be earning this? Is there something I'm not doing? Instead of putting that thought in, they're like, I've worked here 3 years. I deserve it. Well, maybe in that case you do. But there's A, B, and C that you have no idea about that are big parts of this. And that's why you can't move up. But time invested, sure. It's, I think, like when you see a girl that dates a guy and the guy's just a piece of shit, and you can see it, and everybody around you can see it, and you're like, why in the hell is she with that guy? He treats her like shit, and she stays and doesn't see it. I think entitlement's like that, where
Yeah, you're
you
probably right.
you don't see your own actions as far as that goes. You got to step back and take some time to think about it. Yeah, I think it's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it could lead you to not getting a promotion, to even losing your job if you get wild with your mouth and stuff, and they tell you to take a walk. You know,
You're right.
it's a dangerous thing. You know, feeling like you deserve something and working towards things are a good thing. Feeling like you're due something from somebody else, nobody owes you a damn thing. They don't. You know, and I can't be the first person that's ever said that, but there isn't anybody on this planet that owes you a damn thing. You owe it to yourself to get there, to get successful, to build yourself up. And that's work, that's trying to lose weight, that's trying to quit smoking, that's whatever. You don't just deserve anything. You have to earn it, and then it means something to you when you get it.
I couldn't have said it better. I think about, when I look back at the mistakes I made personally and professionally, for me, um, what I've realized is that hard work just isn't enough if nobody realizes that there's any value to it. And that's really it.
That See, and that's a good point too. You should always put in hard work, but you shouldn't be you should be obvious doing it, but you shouldn't be telling the boss you're doing it.
That's
If
right.
that
Yeah.
if that means anything,
Yeah.
they should see it on their own. You shouldn't have to say a thing.
Yeah. And that's that value piece, for
When
sure.
you know you're doing well and you really are doing well, everybody else going to know it too. You don't have to say a damn word.
You got it.
Hmm.
All right. Well, entitlement. There we go. Let's pay some bills, man. Let's talk about what we got going on the side. You ready to talk about this?
You going to talk
Lucha
about me? The
Lucha
longest.
that
We'll
that
get
is
to that.
not.
We'll get to
That's
the
your
longest later.
that's Randy's OnlyFans page that we do not promote here. Um Lucha Union. Tickets are on sale. LuchaUnion.com. Go right now. Go right now and get your tickets. Um
This
by the
will sell out.
It is
There's
100% going to sell out.
there's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind, and that's not being cocky. That's
Yep.
I'm not coming across that way. I hope, because that's not the way I mean it. But it will sell out.
I have been in contact with a number of businesses in and around Austin, Minnesota, where the show is being held. And we're really looking for sponsors and those kinds of things. But the reality is, even the companies that aren't able to work with us based on their marketing budget, they're still like, look, we're coming to the show. We want to, we'll put up flyers, like whatever you want. And it's amazing the support that's even happening. Even if they can't do anything from a monetary perspective, they're all wanting in. They're thanking me for bringing something cool back to Austin, and I'm so honored to be able to do that again at this stage of my
Absolutely.
life. So yeah, you guys don't want to miss it. I'm telling you right now, if you have the ability to be there, it is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, Austin, Minnesota, the El Peral Ballroom. Yes, it is a Lucha Libre show. We are also booking non-Lucha wrestlers. So
Yes. It's a
Lucha
hybrid,
Libre,
I would say.
yeah, it for sure
That's
is.
what I would say. But
It's
it's
going to be a
called
ton of
Lucha
fun.
Union.
Yeah.
And we're definitely putting that flavor into things versus
Yeah.
other, independent shows. And I will
Yeah.
tell you too, I won't tell you anything that's happening at the show, but I will say we got a little taste from around here. We got a little taste coming from Chicago area. It's going to be some stuff that you haven't seen all the time. This is not going to be the same 10 guys on the show like you may have seen before elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is you may want to get some tickets and hurry up doing it.
Without a doubt. And we still have one or two guys left to book. There's a couple that are looking through calendars. We're trying to make sure that
Yep.
we have the right roster for this. But man, I am beyond excited for this thing to happen. And let's not forget either. There's going to be all kinds of merchandise there that night. There's going to be all kinds of
Yes.
ways to interact with the wrestlers. It's
Yep.
just going to be a very unique experience. And hopefully we're able to do more than just one show, and it evolves into something really, really big that, not just pro wrestling fans can get excited about, but the city of Austin, Minnesota too. They can kind of hang their hat on it. But here's where my mind is at. If you're following wrestling at all right now, this is such a great time for independent wrestling. And I'm going to explain to you why real quick. And I'm going to try to do this. If you don't care about wrestling, I want you to just pay attention for a second, okay? Because this is more about the business world than it is about anything else. If you don't know this already, the WWE has decided to have WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year. It's Pro Wrestling Super Bowl. They've decided to do 2 nights of WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia in 2027. Now, keep in mind, this will limit the amount of American fans that are going to be able to see that, bar none. Not just in person, but the time of it as well. Because mostly these things are done around American time zones because of how many Americans watch this. Now, Vince McMahon no longer owns the WWE. He has sold that organization over to a company called TKO. TKO also owns the UFC. And TKO has come out and they have said that we are raising the prices of all of our tickets to every single show. They want to be on par with events like boxing and Ultimate Fighting Championship and those kinds of things. Whereas, like the old era, Vince McMahon was always pricing these shows out for families. Historically speaking, going to a WWE show as a lower middle class family wasn't that hard to do because it was fairly inexpensive. And I'm going to tell you right now, the lower middle class uh, family is probably at the higher echelon of those people going to wrestling shows. The target market for professional wrestling is the blue collar human being. It just is. It always has been. It always will be. And I think that they are changing their target demographic, and it's really going to hurt their business. But the good news that's happening here is that small promotions like Lucha Union are going to be that place that families can go and be entertained. They can get their fix for professional wrestling. We're not owned by any corporate organization. There's no boardrooms making our decisions. There's no dirty Saudi oil money that's paying us every single night. We are going to be able to reset the standard for what professional wrestling is at the independent wrestling level. And we, Randy and I, are just going to happen to own that Austin, Minnesota niche. And we're going to own it very, very well.
And I'll make you this promise. If you come to that show, I'm going to put on the best show that I can. Mike's going to put on the best show that he can. If we go forward, I promise you that every single time that we take a dime of your money for a ticket, we are going to try to give you everything we've got to make sure you get way more than your money's worth for that, and that you're happy to go and look forward to the next one. I will promise you that.
Yeah. I think that if we're paying attention to this, tickets are $20 in advance. LuchaUnion.com. They are $25 at the door, and kids 5 and under are free. We're going on the honor system, folks. All right. We need to be able to pay these wrestlers. So kids 5 and under are free. Lots more to come on that. Follow the social medias. Randy, we also have to talk about our Patreon. We will be launching our second Patreon exclusive podcast episode this month.
Yes.
We have not done that yet, but it is going to happen for the month of September. August has already been posted. So go on to Patreon, onto our Patreon, and sign up for that. Just a couple of bucks a month will get you all of those extra one podcast episode per month that's only exclusive to Patreon. You can only see it there. You can only listen to it there. You can't see it or hear it anywhere else. And we go off script quite a bit, more than usual, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. And I'm not going to tell you what this month is about. We're going to slowly leak a couple of teaser videos into the social medias as we go. But we're already planning our October one. And I'm always, Randy and I are big Halloween and horror movie kind of guys. So we're going to make the October one pretty special as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Randy, all these fans, they want to know exactly. I can't even do that yet. One more thing, folks. It is weeks away at this point where you will be able to see Cowboy Gator McGraw, yours truly, back in the ring one more time on Saturday, November 1st. Now keep in mind, Lucha Union is something separate. I will be there. I will be in the Cowboy Gator McGraw character, but I will not be wrestling. But my final match will be just a few weeks before that on Saturday, November 1st, in North St. Paul at North High School, wrestling for MAW. I will be wrestling Aaron Corbin in a bunkhouse brawl match, which is, in other words, no DQ, no count out. It's going to be it's just my type of match, my friend. It's going to be a good time. If you
Good
want
old
to see
fashioned Slabanaka.
if you want to see me wrestle one more time, that is your opportunity to do it. It's at MAW. Um, I don't know how. I don't even know their website. You go onto my social media, you will see everything you need to know to be able to find the tickets for that show. And they're varying in price, so anywhere from like I don't know, $10 or $15 for general admission and up from there. But I promise you, I'm going to give it my all that night. It is my last hurrah. I guarantee you, it is my last match. So, and then
Don't miss this. I will tell you too, MAW puts on a hell of a good product. So if you're nervous because you've never been there before, you expect a solid show.
yeah,
But
they have some legends already booked for it. Yoshihiro Tajiri from ECW and WWE will be there.
Dude, Japanese buzzsaw.
Yeah. The Great Muda, who I am so excited to meet. The Great Muda will be there from Japan. They've got Adam Bomb back from the early WWF days. Adam Bomb will
Dude.
be there. Um, and several other high profile former WWE
Sounds like they're
talent.
still adding people, as
They
far
are,
as I
yeah.
know.
No, it's going to be a great show. There's like a whole like meet and greet mini convention beforehand.
Yes.
Randy and I'll have a booth set up there. My micro brawlers should be here before that. You'll get an opportunity to buy your the first and only that I know of Cowboy Gator McGraw action figure, the micro brawler, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff. The plush Cowboy Gator McGraws. Did you see the picture of my niece? She got her plush Uncle Mike, the little Cowboy Gator McGraw.
I didn't see that.
It's adorable, dude. She was so stoked that she got. I'm Uncle Mike, man. So you too can have your
I've seen
own.
you as Uncle Fester, but that's something
That is
else.
true. You have not Wednesday, but Uncle Fester instead. Yep. But yeah, man, it's November 1st is going to be a blast, and it's the day after Halloween. Halloween in my house is not a holiday; it's a season, so it's kind of like right at the end of the season. I'm going to have the match, and man, I'm so pumped.
Bring your pillowcase full of candy, get on the road, get in the car, come and see some celebs. Come say hi to us and enjoy an awesome show and watch this guy's last hurrah.
It's going to be a good time, and if you're there, you will be. They're filming the part of the documentary that night that's being filmed about my return, clearly, and so maybe you'll get your chance to be in the movie as well just by being in the audience. So that'll be pretty cool. All right, Randy. All these fans that are clamoring, they love you. They want to know where to find you. Tell them where they can go on the social medias to find you.
I'm the worst at this too. And it's cool that it's on our screen, but it's so small for me to read. It's at Randy _Harig _ Wrestling W tomorrow. The longest, veiniest handle on Instagram, bar none, and they're jealous about it.
Oh boy, you make it tough to follow sometimes, but you can also find me on Instagram at Gator McGraw,
At Gator McGraw.
MAGRAW. You can find we actually have an Instagram also for this podcast itself. That is at WWT.pod. You can also find us on TikTok at Wrestling with Tomorrow, or you can find me on both LinkedIn and YouTube at Kinney Confidence. Randy's making a face.
KinneyConfidence.com.
KinneyConfidence.com. That is where it is. I'm available for bookings. If you want me to come to your school or your organization and talk to you about resilience, redemption, and self-confidence, I'm your guy. So you know where to find me.
If you want
Randy,
me to come with to your school and teach your children the words that you don't want them to say, just so they know them and don't say them, I will help you.
That's where you're wrong, everybody, because Randy's not allowed within 300 yards of a school. So there's that.
That is incorrect, sir. That is slanderous. You rotten son of a bitch.
And
So
on that note,
you may tongue them.
and on
I
that
like
note,
that shit. 300
we want
yards.
to we want to be able to thank all of you for joining us. Please subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Please follow us on the social medias.
We
Buy
appreciate
some
you.
merch. Sign up for the Patreon. Look, we just want to be able to
Subscribe
have
to us. Hit that like button, man.
do
It
something.
means the world to us.
Do
We love
something.
doing this for you. We love doing it for you. So
We really do.
please just show us that, hey, yeah, I watched that.
Show
Do
us a
that
little
for us.
love, if you will.
Baby.
All right, Randy. So to close us out with the entitlement says I should have, when growth says I'll make it undeniable.
Like my handle.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. It has been our pleasure, and we'll see you on the next episode.